Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining to this first session of Chapter 1 on the training for the AIP training for incubators and accelerators. As you know, this chapter is delivered by Marting Mata. So before giving the floor to him, I will just ask you kindly to rename yourself if possible and to include your name and the organization so we also know who is in the room and just a reminder that the session is being recorded so it will be shared on the AIP platform and also with you so you can share with your colleagues that were not able to join today. And yeah, with no further delay, I leave the floor now just to Martin Mata. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Well, let me just check if the connection is okay and you hear me well. Okay?
Yes,
Good.
yeah.
Good enough. All right. So let me just try to share my presentation because the presentation is the key. So, yeah, what I can do here, share
Let me...
content only. Okay. It's my screen, but doesn't matter. I'm gonna open the presentation right here. Yes. 1 second. Yes. Is that okay for you? I'm not able just to
Yes,
share
perfect.
otherwise, but so yeah.
Yeah, we see presentation mode, so it's perfect. Thank you.
Is it okay. Hello and welcome in this module called like and the program IEIP. So thank you very much for that. And we can go ahead. We have something like a 2 hours schedule. So uh, I believe we can do that. We will go through my presentation and yes, the important thing is that you have the connection right in the corner to me to be able just to connect me because I have seen that some of the people just join our, let's say, group afterwards. So if someone don't know me, so my name is again Martin Mata. I'm the CEO of the Innovation Center of the East region. This is the north part of the country in the Czech Republic, and I believe I am the one of the experts for the ecosystem building. So yeah, that's basically it. I can go for the slides too, if I will be able. Okay. Yes. Well, for the rules, just let me just say that please rename yourself by including your name. That was already mentioned by Kova. Make sure that your mic is off to be not interrupted, but it doesn't means that you will be not able to interrupt me and ask for the questions or whatever. Please use the chat as a primary, let's say, tool. And of course, don't hesitate to ask if there is a question. I will go through the presentation like I am doing for my students in university. So maybe I will be like a machine gun.
Martin, I think you may have issues with your connection. I don't know if it's only me, but yeah, I see Philip also
Yes,
has to remain.
it's Martin.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I think it's cut. I will. Yeah, Martin. I will text him.
Only the point I wanted to share with you and is right now the
Sorry, Martin. Sorry to interrupt. We lost you for a couple of minutes. I think your connection
oh
cut.
oh
Yeah.
sorry, I don't know where I have stopped, so maybe I
Where
just
I think where they had where you were asking
okay.
participants to rename themselves. Yeah,
That machine
Sorry,
gun.
sorry.
more or less.
Sorry. Machine gun. Yes, I machine gun. That's important thing. Well, yeah. Let's do it. Or I can just maybe try to stop sharing my screen. Maybe it's better. Sorry, you will not see my nice face, but important is the presentation. Okay. Yes. Sorry. Well, back to the topic again. The important things again is that you can just chat through our, let's say, Zoom session. Ask if you need some explanation. Don't interrupt each other, and please respect. This is not visible right here, but sorry, but please respect that the level of your knowledge of the ecosystem is completely, let's say, different. So make, let's say, some let's say consideration that one of the guys maybe don't know the ecosystem things, so you are maybe already in advance and I can just repeat what you already know, but some of the people need to go through some eco deeds to some details, and this is my, let's say, responsibility and the task for today to explain what the ecosystem is, what is not, and how we can play with the analysis and mapping, of course, in the ecosystem. Okay, so please be patient and respectful for the others. Let me just move to another slide, but there's some slow connection, so sorry about that. Doesn't work. Yes, 1 second. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's begin with the understanding of the innovation ecosystem. Well, we have to see the system as it really is. Time to times happen, and this is very much common and understandable that we see the ecosystem as a let's say central, and we are just in the middle of it. But I can explain that in my presentation. Uh, the important thing is that the slide should introduce you. It doesn't work. Sorry. Yes. The slide introduces you the central idea of the whole module. Well, most people of you don't know actually or don't see the ecosystem they work in. They see it as a presentation of it, and typically the representation is based on formal structures. Universities, incubators, public agencies, investors, and whatever startups, of course. Many of you are coming from the innovation hubs related to the startups. So the problem is that this gives us a static picture of the system that is really, in reality, it's dynamic. And the innovation ecosystem is not, let's say, defined by who exists in it, but by what happens between actors. So this is important thing to understand. So when we say seeing the system as it really is, we mean shifting attention from structure to behavior. I can give you some examples like the questions. Who actually makes decisions? Where the resources really flow? Who access and who is excluded? Where the process slow down or get stuck? That's basically the typical question, and very often the normal picture looks healthy, but the real one, behavior of the system, tells a different story. And I'm gonna just let's say try to open your eyes, and this model is about learning how to notice basically the gaps. Okay, so well, yeah. Another slide. Sorry. Well, if you are talking about this ecosystem and a misunderstanding, this is the next question. Why are ecosystems so that we tend to describe them using organizational language? We talk about the partners, members, governance structures. We talked about it a little bit before, but ecosystem do not behave like organization. There is no single center of the control. There is no shared objectives, and actors follow their own incentives. That's basically the behavior is, and the reason is that we focus. Uh,
Sorry, Martin, you are cutting again. Maybe if you want to switch your camera off, maybe would help a bit.
and formal, and ignore informal power, historical. I can just do it here.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Kokoba, for this interruption. If there is something which is not okay or you are not hearing, just let me know. I'm sorry that you cannot see my face again.
No,
All
well, I
right.
think now I hear you better, so I think it works.
All right, all right. Well, yeah, back to the topic and this let's say slide I have prepared for you. I'm not gonna let's say read what is already written there. The presentation will be after the session shared, so you can just go ahead with my notes and my let's say my remarks I have put in, and I'm just going to tell you more about the let's say what is behind and give you some examples in the presentations content. So yeah, the purpose of this module is to correct that misunderstanding. Well, basically not judge the ecosystem, especially not yours. I'm not here to judge. I'm here to help, and but or to analyze them with more, let's say, precision. Because I believe that without a realistic understanding of the system, any attempt to change it's logically guesswork. Yeah. From the key insight from the recommendation reading I gave you, I believe you go through it. For the ones who joined us today, sorry, I can just share with you the email I have sent to the group before. Um, the point is not just to give you some homeworks, but to give you some, let's say, pets to find the information more about the ecosystem, to be more, let's say, comfortable and understand the point from the different perspective and ways. So I try to do it in the publications or some scientific publication and videos, whatever you liked. So please go ahead with that. And basically, there is a lot of things already mentioned in the ecosystem, but be careful with this all these let's say links and the information about the ecosystem, because ecosystem at all or is in general is it's a completely different story for anybody else, like we are living in the innovation ecosystem. Of course, the ecosystem, it can be environmental, whatever. Maybe the principles are the same, but the ecosystem are different. But I can just tell you more about it in the following slides. So the point is that I will share for the rest the ecosystem, let's say, information and publication um, to study, if you wish. Uh, we are going to slide related to the ecosystem, what this actually is. So yeah. Uh, the point is that as many regions and many countries, I can just move these slides ahead. The point is that one of the key insight is the ecosystem rarely fail because actors are inactive. Yeah, that's always the issue. And most ecosystem are actually very busy. Uh, there are meetings, events, projects, goals, strategies. But what fails is, from my perspective, alignment. From the research and practice consistently, consistently shows that having many initiatives doesn't automatically create a functional ecosystem. In fact, it often creates a noise. Okay, so that's always. Um, Another important insight is that ecosystem evolves slowly. They are shaped by long-term initiatives, fundings, institutional behavior, short-term projects, whatever. And finally, the success ecosystem um, are not the result of the perspective design. This means that the copying programs from the other regions rarely works. Of course, why not? From the principal point of view, but what looks like a best practice is usually the outcome of very specific context you have everybody here in here. So the insight is the insights are important because they tell us one thing clearly. Okay, if we want to understand the ecosystem, we must stop looking for templates and start analyzing how the system actually functions. And this is the slide I have here. Based on that, we can just clearly clarify what we mean when we talk about the ecosystem. An ecosystem is systematically is the system of the interactions uh, defined by flows of money, flows of information, flows of people and decisions. Um, if I can give you some example, you may have funding available, but if access to funding is low, unclear, or politically constrained, the flow is effectively broken. That we can agree together, and or you may have talent in the system, but if there is no career paths or opportunities, the talent will basically leave. And this is why mapping actor sorry, this is why mapping actors alone is never enough. We need to understand how these flows behave in reality, and that is the shift this module and pushing you towards. I am not Kova, please. Maybe if there is some question so far, I am not really reading because I don't want to just interrupt the presentation. I'm sharing the screen. If there is some question or whatever, please let me just know.
Yeah, sure. No, no
Otherwise I will
worry.
go through.
Just
Okay.
participants are just introducing each other so far on the chat. Thank you everyone for doing that as
Okay.
well.
Okay.
But no questions. Yeah, if not, I'll let you know. But yeah, now it
Yeah.
works perfectly fine. The sound so great.
Okay,
Thank
I
you.
don't want to be in the academic way, so I will go through the presentation. So there will be of course Q&A, but if there is something you would like to share, or there will be some, let's say, highlights you would like to, let's say, raise, don't worry, and please let's have it like a workshop together, not just the academic, let's say, perspective. I have with the students, because many times it's happened that if I'm in the university, I will go to the presentation, 2 hours talking, but there is no reply. So maybe it's the same you have in experience. But yeah, this is for you guys. So please go ahead with that if you need, and if you would like to raise the question or experience. Well, yeah. I already mentioned that what the ecosystem basically is not, and this is important to understand. So I told you that we are just in the beginning of the let's say modules and chapter I have. So this is more related to understand what the ecosystem really is and what is not, because we are making a lot of, let's say, mistakes during our, let's say, understanding and yeah, following steps we are doing for the good approach of your organization. So important is that in this slide what an ecosystem is not. I told you I can just share the presentation with you after the, let's say, session. If we look at the flows, most ecosystem focus on actors, universities, incubator, investors, ministries, hubs, startups. This is all again repeated what I already mentioned, but that is understandable, of course, because actors are visible. They have the name, logos, mandates, but actors alone do not explain why an ecosystem works or doesn't work at all. So what really matters are flows. This is the yeah, this let's say remarks I have here with this shape, and yeah, um, the thing is about this way. So you can have all the right actors present, but if money doesn't move, if information doesn't circulate, if decision is taking too long, guys, well, the system will underperform. So yeah, that is basically the rule, but this will already happen. So for example, an incubator may exist, but if startups cannot access funding, because it's important, the important thing number one after incubation, the flow from support to grow is or will be broken. So yeah, that's the issue that's the issue, sorry. That's the issue we are making. So when we analyze ecosystem, we shift attention from we have to shift attention from who is there towards what actually moves, and from this point on, every time you need to think about an actor and the real analytic questions, like what flow does this actor enable, slow down or block? Um, this is a nice, let's say, slide again related to asymmetry and power. And we are talking about the power and controlling over the founding decisions, gatekeeping. You have already written these parts, important manifests in the right corner. But the important thing is to understand that ecosystems are not flat. Well, they basically are asymmetrical. So some actors control the key resources, of course, funding, regulations, access. Well, others depends on them. This asymmetry is not a moral problem. It's a structural reality, guys. Yeah. Sorry, I just one slide ahead. Yeah, the common mistakes. Well, I have already mentioned in the beginning, in the interaction, that the dominant mental model places your organization in the central. Yeah, and that's basically what really happened, and this is the misunderstanding we have naturally in ourselves. So this slide I'm just going to show you is points to a mistake that appears again and again in ecosystem. When the organization map ecosystem, the organization almost always place themselves in the center. Well, yes, that's basically what really happened, and this is really consciously. It happens because we see that ecosystem from our own position. That's fine and okay for the beginning. And in my replies to your email, to your, let's say, homework you have done, I try to, let's say, that explain that for the let's say understanding the position, it's good to be in the center and understand the key players around me. But yeah, in the following steps, this creates an distorted picture, because in reality ecosystem have multiple centers, and these centers shifts depending on the issue. So for funding, one actor may be central; for talent, another; for example, for regulation, a completely different one. So when an organization assumes it's the hub, it's overestimated its influence and underestimated the autonomy of the others. So the question, or so yeah, or basically the purpose of this is encourage intellectual humility, and you are part of the importance is that you are part of the ecosystem, and or not end, but you are not the ecosystem. And but I am just going to show you in the following slide. So what basically you have done in the slides, you can see right here. So this is your ecosystem maps you have just shared. This is not all of them. Sorry about it, guys. I just took a couple of them, as well as the table in the right corner, and I can just let's say tell you in advance that I really like that the style you have done the homework, and the reply to my, let's say, to my questions. I have just put two in consideration, and let's say to be for you to understand it, and the position where you are. So this is at the first stage, a very nice one. You put yourself, you can see it in the central, which is also for the beginning and the first stage, also fine. But we need to put it in the, let's say, more real, let's say, point of view. And I'm going to show you something which is quite similar, so maybe you can just smile. But this is what actually you have done. So you put yourself in the center like a solar system, the sun, and everything is around you. But this is always the, let's say, the issue I'm trying to explain. But because from the, let's say, relations perspective, the directions to and back or forth and back, um, it's good to understand. So yeah, I can repeat that. In the beginning, it's for the first stage, it's fine to let's say analyze it like I'm in the central, everything's about me. But you have to understand that you are the part of the system, let's say the central one. But we can just talk about it in the detail in the following slides. Sorry, yes. Well, yeah, I told you that you as the participants usually do well what you have already sent me, but we need to just clarify together what is the central and not central, let's say, ecosystem understanding. Yeah, and this is basically, guys, it. Um, yeah, right here. You put just the organization in the middle, and you just make the homework. I just yeah, I just expected. Sorry about that note. Expected, and this is the 99% always the same story. For the ones who just share also the, let's say, relations in the table, you are a little bit, guys, in advance, and this is exactly what I need, because I already told you and you already know from my presentation today that this is all about the relations and let's say all the directions related to the money decisions and founders, not just about that you as an organization, you are in the middle of the, let's say, all the ecosystem and everything is driven by you, but we can just talk about as well in another slides. So the asymmetric ecosystem map is the one you have to understand and put yourself in the map. So if you understand what you can impact in the organization level here, and you put yourself in the, let's say, this, let's call it solar system, then you completely understand your position and what you have to do in the following steps with your growth and the impact you would like to do. Doesn't matter in if you are an innovation hub or another lab or makerspace or whatever. Doesn't matter if you are in the organization level in the country or just the local level. This is need to be, let's say, understandable from the both sides. And please, for your homework, maybe it's up to you if you go for it or not. Please try to do asymmetric ecosystem map and understand where is your real position. Maybe just a question to you guys. You can maybe just raise your hand or maybe just go ahead with that. I put you reference example about the ecosystem because I told you that the ecosystem is let's say something which is already in case of Latimer's bottle over than let's say 60 years working, and this is example I have put here. So is anybody from your sides that already just goes through the whether if in video or whether I'm just here, so if you can just
Sorry,
share it
Martin.
minutes
Sorry,
and you can
you are
just understand.
cutting now a bit.
Sorry, yeah.
Sorry.
So yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know
just the
where I have
question
stopped so far.
we
So
missed. Yeah.
yeah, well, yeah. The question is if you, let's say, get the opportunity to look at the videos or some, let's say, information related to the Latin border ecosystem, it's always something I have presenting to my students that this is the ecosystem which is already living as a sustainable without any interruption from outside already 60 years, and this is something you would like to do also with your organization. I see my friend Gideon raising hand. So
Hi,
please go
Martin.
ahead.
Thank you very much. Um, yeah, I watched some of the videos, and it's great. If you look at this um, reality
Sorry.
of the ecosystem, and it shows how interdependent every element in the ecosystem is on the other. And so I like the point that you raised earlier that, of course, usually the first thing is to put ourselves in the center, but this can shift based on the situation, circumstances, and it can change from time to time. So, for instance, if we even look at the concept of oxygen, carbon dioxide, and the rest. There are some elements that will produce oxygen at one time, carbon dioxide at the other time, but they also need this at different times. So, if another element of the ecosystem is producing oxygen at one point in time, and that is what I need, then I need to depend on the other element for my survival. And the role can shift where the other elements might also need something else from me for its survival. So I like the interdependency of the elements within the ecosystem, which, if we recognize that our workplace also has the same kind of characteristics, we'll be more willing
Okay.
to work
Yeah.
to work in a team where at one time we are providing the support, the other time we need the support of the other person to keep moving.
Guys.
Yes, yeah, we'll hear you, Martin.
Okay. So Gideon was maybe cut it. So I don't know what was the last things you just mentioned.
You
Yeah,
didn't hear me.
Yes, now, please.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I was saying that the major thing is that it highlights the interdependency of the different elements within the ecosystem. And so even at the workplace, if it's a hub or maker space, like you mentioned, the individuals within the teams have different strengths or skill set that others may have to rely on from one point to the other. And even it's from one organization to the other where we depend on each other for our growth. And it's the same thing in all ecosystems.
Perfect. That's only the point of the Latemas bottle ecosystem. I just wanted to share with you to understand it better, where you are and what you are impacting and how you have to be impacted by the others to make the ecosystem real life working. Yeah. So Gideon, thank you again about that. Well, yeah, we have to go from the theory to reality, and now we move from general concept. I just try to explain you to specific context, and everything we have discussed so far only becomes useful when you basically relate it to your own ecosystem. And this point, the task is not to judge. I told you whether your ecosystem is good or bad. This is not my case, and yeah, privilege. And this has to be, or that is not a helpful distinction. The real task is to understand what is strong, what is basically fragile, and what is structurally constrained. Um, this requires asking very concrete question, and I just erase it sub couple of questions maybe. So, which flows work well in our system? Where do things repeatedly get stuck, guys? Which incentives push actors in productive directions, and which ones create defense behavior? So, yeah, is anyone from you here to go for that, let's say, questions and opportunity to share something? I don't see any raised hands, so maybe just someone can help me with, because I cannot see that. If no, well, yeah, the slides marks the transition from abstract thinking to applied analysis. That's basically it. And from now on, the framework is no longer theoretical, so it has to be or becomes um, to daily experience. I can just move the slides. Yeah. Um, Regarding the principles, um, we can just look at what the actors and other let's say and others at this stage. Well, basically, I can say it vice versa. The typically participants have a good overview of the actors, and they know who is active, who runs which program, who is formally responsible for what. This knowledge is valuable, but without it, no ecosystem works as possible. And many organizations are also very good at delivering activities, incubation, mentoring, trainings, events, hackathons, whatever you're doing, guys, in your ecosystems, and trying to help to let's say promote more the innovation and the startups, let's say, scene. The problem is not lack of effort or competence. The problem is that this strength of stays are at the operational level. So people what exists, but they do not always see how these elements interact as a system. So this slice is not criticism; it's a reality check, and this has to be helpful for you to be able to coordinate. The interdependent then flows and limited exchanges. You can just can see it here the cross, and you can go ahead with that. And of course, bottleneck constraints everything. Um, yeah, we just the Latimer bottle is good for understanding. It's already 65 years interrupted. Say all the correlations and interactions inside, which has to be done. But don't let's say mix it with the ecosystem, and there's some kind of mistakes if you just copy Latimer's bottle and do not understand what really you can just let's say use. Yeah.
So sorry, Martin, there is a comment from Sahar. Maybe you want to share as well, Sahar.
Sorry,
Um,
I cannot see it, so please go ahead.
Yeah, no, don't worry. I know, don't worry. So yes, he just mentioned on the chat that one important point to highlight is that as the ecosystem continues to evolve rapidly, business incubators and accelerators must adapt accordingly. Um, in this context, moving forward, virtual incubation and online training models has become a priority for all ecosystems actors in order to respond more effectively to startups' needs and ensure greater accessibility and scalability.
Mhm. Well, it was. No, I'm not clear about the question. Say, please
Yeah, no, it's not a question, just
read yeah.
a comment. Yes, it's shared as well.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah, but I think better if participants, if you want to share also something related to what Martin is sharing, just raise your hand because it's easier for him also
Yeah, please,
to
Sahar,
see
go ahead with that.
and yeah, and also if you want to share and as Martin mentioned, exchange with the rest of the participants would be very interesting.
All right.
Thank
Hi, Martin.
Hi,
So
Sahar.
I just put my comment here because you explained, and I just share this point with you guys and my colleague here. So yeah,
All right. Good enough. Sorry about it. I cannot read it because my screen is just a share. Like, is it? So
it's
yeah.
okay.
Please,
It's okay.
if there's something, please, yeah, tell me that.
Just I said that the important thing that do we adapt with the ecosystem. Just we need to be present online. Maybe we can coordinate with others online also. So things move fast. So and we need to adapt. So this is the
Mhm.
point.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Good. Well, let me just slightly continue with the presentation. The presentation is something like a 30 slide, so we are just somewhere in the middle. So yeah, I can just go ahead with that. and we can just maybe have then a Q&A, and so we can just talk about some, let's say, your concrete, let's say, ecosystem you would like to share, and maybe you would like to get some feedback also from the others from your let's say team or the group we have today here. So I can give you of course floor if you'd like to share something important I'm missing, or maybe I cannot see in the moment. Yeah, well, yeah, I'm get back to these slides again. What is usually missing in decision makers bottlenecks, but it is already mentioned and driven by the slides before. This is some kind of details I'm just sharing with you. Um, um, yeah, I can maybe just for example. No, like otherwise. For example, if a program may appear well designed, but approval takes months, discouraging the most dynamic startups, or cooperation exists on paper, but incentives discourage real collaboration. These issues are really documented. They are felt, not reported. But I'm not going to go for as much details in here to spend time on it. The key shift in perspective, you are not itself has to be named as an ecosystem. You are part of the ecosystem, and I'm using in my innovation center in my country that we are trying, because we are innovation as center of the ski region. So we are as a, let's say, some kind of orchestrator. But if you are part of some such infrastructure like we have here, and you are hubs or startups or labs or makerspaces, whatever, you are part of the ecosystem. Yeah, so. The key shift, I already told you, to understand that you are not the ecosystem, but you are part of the ecosystem. Yeah. At this point, it's important. It's important to pause maybe and address a very sensitive issue. Many organizations working in innovation ecosystems slowly start to identify themselves with the ecosystem. This is, of course, understandable. Your invested time, energy, resources, whatever, you connect actors, your program represent the region, represent the country, maybe represent the world, but it doesn't matter. But let me just say that this is analytically this kind of dangerous, because your organization part, because you are organization your organization is a part of the ecosystem, and it is not ecosystem itself. The moment and the level of the organization starts to believe that yeah, the ecosystem depends entirely on it, like I think maybe time to time, its analysis becomes beast, because it's overestimated sometimes, the influence, and this is misinterprets resistance from the others, of course, because they feel like oppressed or whatever, that they are also part, and they are doing their best to be, let's say, in the ecosystem somehow impacted and respectful. So yeah, this slide is not about reducing your importance. Of course not. Of course not. You are a really important one, especially if you would like to, let's say, to do something for not your only for your organization, but also for the ecosystem itself. This is all about increasing your accuracy. This is more clearly to, let's say, be able to see your organization as an actor among the others than the yeah, then let's say, to overtake, let's say, responsibility to the others. Well, yeah, from the mapping your ecosystem, there's several steps I'm just putting in the slides. So in this first step, number one, you start with flows, not actors. We just talk about it. In the second steps, you identify the bottlenecks and gatekeepers. In the emails I have just sent you and the questions I have raised to you, some of the guys already also answered with table or with email explanation, the bottlenecks and so on. So this is very nice one. It will be also fine to show some of the examples. And from that perspective, I am just maybe asking some of you to share your, let's say, the path, how you map your ecosystem, since I have asked it for, or maybe you have it already. So yeah, please, if there is someone from you to share it, please go ahead. Again, I cannot see the raised hands and so on, so please. Is anybody in here who would like to share how you did it, or how was the way you did it? What you were struggling? What was the issue for understanding?
Yeah, well, Martin, maybe to share as well, as you cannot see the comments, Sonia just shared as well that she just realized and learned that their ecosystem is full of actors, including themselves, and they have a flow,
Okay.
and this is very eye-opening for her.
Okay, thank you very much.
Gideon is there, two hands raised. Gideon and Sahar as well.
Please. So ladies first, so Sahar, please.
Thank you so much, Martin. So, the challenge that I faced to draw the map for my ecosystem in Algeria here is to collect the data from LinkedIn, YouTube, social media, websites. So, it's really hard to know all that. And all that information, it's difficult to know. So, this is my challenge that I faced. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you about that experience, Gideon.
Yeah, in Ghana, our ecosystem is a bit funny. So, for instance, the concept of where to place government is an issue because different governments have different priorities, and those who even claim to support innovation happen not to understand what kind of innovation they are thinking of, and policies are not even aligned. So it's difficult to place them anywhere as to whether they are enabling the innovation environment or not. So that's kind of a difficult one to do. Then there are other agencies within the ecosystem that are also not playing their role. On paper, we understand what they need to play to support innovation, but in practice, they are not. So at some point, I find it difficult to place them anywhere because on paper they are supposed to be here, but in practice, if I put them there, I feel that they are not acting according to what they are supposed to do. So those are the dynamics that made it difficult drawing the interrelations between the elements within our ecosystem.
Okay, good enough. Any feedback on Gideon's remark?
There is also a comment
If
from
not,
Isabella on the chat, saying that using the flows approach is new for them and
okay.
perhaps more realistic approach than what they used to use, and because they have been using the actors approach, which in essence might not be the actual engagement they have.
All right. Yes. Okay. Well, maybe just give me 1 second. Yeah. I will just move on to the slides, which is quite important to the slide I have just raised in this case. Did you ever heard about the disappearance test, guys? Is the ecosystem reality check? Just raise your hand on somebody. Tell me this experiment. Did you ever heard about that? Because it's quite important, and this is the questions I am getting, or question I'm getting from the government. Let's say every month I have meeting with him, and he's always tell me, Martin, just let me know or tell me if your organization tomorrow disappear, what will happen? There will be nothing, there will be some, let's say, impact that somebody will, let's say, miss you. Yeah. Well, from this perspective of my presentation, guys, please, not now, but maybe if you will have more, let's say, time and let's say and willingness to do that, put this question to your teams and ask if we disappear tomorrow, what will stop the functioning in the ecosystem? Are we really in the center? Are we really part of the ecosystem? Where we are, and if we will be missing or we will be disappearing, what will really happen? If someone will, I told you, missed us, okay, then there is something which is quite important, and you are part of the ecosystem, needs to be, let's say, pushed up and supported, because they will miss you and the ecosystem will not, let's say, leave. But if you tomorrow disappear, what will happen? If nothing, you need to think about it. Okay? Well, yes. Uh, from this perspective, all from one to another. But if you understand the principles, then you can use it and let's say evolve, because we can just talk about evolution. You can evolve that to your case and your, let's say, organizations and the ecosystem and the environment you are living. And this is important. So there is a no copy paste, let's say, functional system. But if you understand the, let's say, all the principles, you will be able to be, let's say, important part in the ecosystem, which will not disappear. I just mentioned a couple of seconds before.
Sorry, Martin, there is another hand raised
Sorry,
from
yes.
Emmanuel.
Emmanuel, please go ahead.
Yeah. So, yeah, in connection to what you were saying, as in when we are out of the system, we will not be missed. Indirectly, it means that being part of an ecosystem, you need to have a feel of you. You need to really get involved in the activities that goes on in there. You need to really make an impact. I don't know if that's what it means. And by making an impact, I don't know if I realize that sometimes in our ecosystem in Ghana, which I belong to, sometimes when you're trying to make an impact or try to stand out, it sounds like you are going off or you are getting out of or you are trying to be more like independent. They want to see you moving with a team instead of you trying to stand out. But from the presentation, it means that every party or partner in the system should really get involved, bring initiatives to let the ecosystem perform or do its functions well, but not just be members of the system. And that's where we get confused as to what are the roles the parties are playing in there. But if we get involved, then we'll get to know which parties, individuals are playing in there. And I also add to it that whilst we are in the system, we should let the system know what our specialties, the areas we do so well, so they can fit us at the various sections in the system. That's what I think I wanted to add to that aspect. In that way, when you are in the ecosystem and you leave, we will feel your presence, and we will know that this party or member of the system is out. But if you are out of the system and we don't feel you, it means that you are not really contributing to the system and you are not making any impact, which would also help the entire ecosystem. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. That's basically what is behind and understanding, good understanding of the ecosystem and contribution. Yeah, that's about that. Let's think about that remarks you have just placed.
And sorry, Martin,
Hi,
Sonia
Martin, can I
also
add
has
from
risen.
Emmanuel too?
Yeah.
Sorry, I cannot see
Sonia?
it. Sorry.
Yeah. No,
No
don't
problem.
worry.
Hi. So I also want to add on to what Emmanuel is saying. I 100% agree because I live in Southern Africa, and in my country, like in Namibia, it's really, really challenging to be an ecosystem builder or an incubator that stands out because of not only regulations that are not put in place, but the regulations that exist do not allow you to grow beyond what they want you to be. So you can be doing a lot of work in the community, like in the entrepreneurship community, but you will get blocked or stopped. You know, if you are going to be innovative, they will. I don't want to say they will control the innovation, but there are certain actors who make sure that you don't go beyond what makes them comfortable, if that makes sense. So even growing or trying to be different, like when you said about the disappearing act, a lot of our ecosystem partners disappear because they never had a chance to evolve or grow because of political issues. Because the ecosystem in Namibia is very not small, but it's growing, but we are not evolving because of a lot of regulatory and political issues. So we can exist, but to get to where this program is trying to get us, it's not going to be like that easy. So when you are trying to look at flows and work with other systems and partners, it's not going to be that easy because number one, they'll want to know everything that you're doing, who you are impacting, what you are covering. So you have no privacy for your own intellectual property in your company. You know, like you're always having to be at the bottom, not necessarily the bottom, but at the mercy of a bigger power. So it's not that easy. And once you stand out too much, then next thing your business is not operating as much. So you have to learn the balance of being good, being memorable, but not doing too much out of fear of being taken out.
Yes, that's
It's a real thing, Martin. Please don't laugh.
No. I know that, but don't take it, let's say, bad way. I have, or we have this similar situation also in our country, so it's always happened like this. So yeah, well, yeah, completely understand your point, and then I just don't want to go for the such, let's say, discussions about the politics and the dependency and so on. So it's always difficult, and yeah, my goal is just to make sure that you understand your position and what you can evolve, how you can evolve. In your case, yeah, well, I told you it's not copy paste. You have to try to find your way. But maybe we can just talk about that separately, so I can just maybe try to help you somehow. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Or you're welcome, so for nothing. I'm here to help. Yeah, and always it's welcome if you could put your let's say feedback and feelings into this, let's say, discussions, because I'm also learning from you. So it means that if I understand your, let's say, cases, I can maybe just give you some examples and try to help in your, let's say. Not all issues, because I cannot solve it. I'm not God, but I will try to give you some, let's say, understanding from European perspective. So this is one of the reason I'm here to help you. Okay, so yeah.
Sorry, Martin, there is another hand raised.
All
Mohammed.
right. Discussion's coming. So good.
That's
Hello,
good, yeah.
Martin. Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay. I don't see anything.
No, you are cutting,
Hear anything?
Mohammed. Sorry, we cannot hear you, Mohammed. Maybe if you want to write it on the chat.
Hello?
Hello, now.
Okay, it's now good. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, now, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Perfectly much. Thank you so much, Marta, for the wonderful presentation. I just have one question because I had wonderful commenters that were raised. So the question is, can really actors in the ecosystem control the innovation?
Okay. This is the question. If you can control it.
No, the question that I really want the answer for is, can really actors in the ecosystem control the innovation?
Oh, yes. Okay. So please go ahead with that, let's say, explanation. To understand your case.
Okay. I have just heard these previous characters, and they really talked about something which is very indispensable, but also worrying at the same time. When some certain actors can have
Okay.
more power over the other actors,
Ah,
and then kind of lack of balance between the actors who are all in the ecosystem, can that affect some certain actors and be at some certain point as control it?
mm. Well, yeah, thank you about it. That question, understood. Well, it's tricky and complicated, man. I'm going to tell you something which is important, and this is always like a general, let's say, remark, but it's always, let's say, as a let's say real true, and it's the communication and the understanding the position. So I told you in the presentation, or I just tried to explain you that you need to focus on the, let's say, actors inside the ecosystem, and who drives it, who, let's say, pays it, and what is the, let's say, the target and the mission for the whole ecosystem. And doesn't matter if it's innovation or anybody else. So in innovation ecosystem, it's always also tricky and the difficult part, because if you, as you already mentioned, have more power than the others, and we are affecting the others, then of course will come some, let's say, issue with the, let's say, actors. And this is something you need to, let's say, clarify it, and try to find balance between the actors itself. So if there is some platform you are doing, and you are making the meetings together, yeah, please go ahead with that positioning, and try to, let's say, find the, let's say, spaces where you can operate, they can operate, and what is the, let's say, purpose and goal for everybody of you. So yeah, I know it's general, but it's also let's say, my experience in my, let's say, region, my country. So we are just we have been founded 10 years ago, guys. So after the 10 years right now, just now we have a position that everybody else just trying to, let's say, not follow us, not listening us, but they are respectful for the others, as we are respecting the others in the ecosystem. So yeah, need to find the balance.
Thank you so much for the answer. That was amazing.
Thank you. Anybody else? Kova, maybe if there is
No,
some.
not
No.
now. Thank you.
All right. So yeah, in the meantime, we just discussed it. You just have seen or you are seeing the presentation slide, why good intentions often fail. So yeah, it's always driven by uh, uh, I thought it was good idea. I thought it will be helpful. I thought that somebody else think that it was, let's say, discussed, and we have same goal. No, this is the part we just talked about together in this chat a couple of seconds ago. Yeah, need to communicate it clearly. Need to communicate it with in such a platforms, and make the goals and let's say positions and. Let's say, not the homeworks, but the tasks for anybody on the table. So to understand where you are moving, and of course, it's always driven by the decisions and money. So yeah, what everybody connects, it's money. It's some, let's say, in the European Union, it's the projects, it's the EU money. Yeah. So if there is some target like that, yeah, it's always, let's say, easy to, let's say, cooperate, because everybody on the table has some, let's say, responsibility in the project level, let's say, organization. So yeah, I don't know the case in the Africa, but in that case, yeah, it's maybe time to communicate it across the countries, or across the, let's say, continent, how you can do it, these things together. But I can see, or I have always seen some, let's say, platforms, even the EBN and this program is trying to help you somehow. So yeah, let's yeah, in this stage, from my chapter and the colleagues chapters, they are also I believe in communication today will help you to grow up with the understanding and positioning in the ecosystem. So yeah, this is just the first. This is just the first session. We have to look together. The next sessions will be more related to the, let's say, theory of change and understanding how you can play with the actors. So I don't want to just spend time on that today, because it's the following program. Another 2 hours we can just talk about it and understand it. So yeah, well, yeah, that's basically it. Maybe it's one of the guys, if they are already present here. I don't know if Philip or Thierry or anybody else would like to put some, let's say, notes or remarks to this part of presentation I have today. If not,
If not, Martin, sorry, there is a question from Sahar that maybe we can discuss now or later if you want in the common discussions. He's asking, what do you think about an ecosystem that focuses more on events and challenges rather than on the quality of the mentorship and solid infrastructure? And is it acceptable for the ecosystem to still be fresh in Algeria, or is focusing on knowledge building a good first step?
oh yeah, this is the question. Well, as part of my innovation center, we have three environments here in here, and one is to do, make the startups how to, let's say, be on the company level. Second part is more for the regional ecosystem, let's say. So I have also team which is focusing on the regional ecosystem, let's say, balance and the impacts. So yeah, those guys are just running around this table I told you, and trying to negotiate the part where we are supporting, where is our let's say responsibility, and where is the others responsibility in the ecosystem we have in my region. And also the last part is related to the marketing and events we have, and this is also important to, let's say, yeah, you do perfect conferences, you do perfect let's say workshops, whatever, but it doesn't mean that this is only the part you have to do. It's important. It's important for the communication. It's important for the, let's say, not only your environment, but also for the people, because they need to understand what you are doing. Because after the 10 years, I have also question in my organization or my region, sorry, and they are placing like a question: what is the innovation center? What the hell are they doing? We don't know what they are doing. We cannot understand what they are doing. So yeah, it's back to the questions. It's important to do that, but maybe my privilege is that I have everything around my, let's say innovation center's office, so I can just arrange what is important, what is not, and just make these decisions where to speed up and push up more. But if there is in ecosystem somebody who is concentrating, if I understood the question well, Sahar, correctly, related to more, let's say, events and workshops, trainings, yeah. Yeah, I need to understand. I can well, you just if I remember well, you just send me the your ecosystem countings, more than 700 organization in total, if I remember well. Yeah, and I told you that this is fine to let's say clarify and discuss in the future. But yeah, I was not able to understand the position you have in your ecosystem, and in terms of not, just to say it correctly, in terms of your let's say power and decision making. So, Sahar, please, yeah, if you would like to raise it, the specific, let's say, question again, please go ahead.
Hello, Martin. Again. So I didn't catch your question. So I need to clarify about events or
No,
what
no, yeah,
exactly.
maybe you can just move it to the later on. But yeah, you just may put the question related to the, let's say, the power or the impact of the, let's say, events or organization, or it is concentrating for more events than the others. It's right. Sorry.
I think your voice is cutting.
Yeah, sorry.
Ah,
No,
yeah.
well, I heard, yeah, I was hearing Martin Sahar, so I don't know, maybe, yeah, there are some connection issues, but he was asking, yeah, about the events clarification, and also asking about the position of your organization within the ecosystem, if, yeah.
Yeah, actually, about event, we participate on this event as the exposure to
Mm-hmm.
catch entrepreneurs and innovators, of course. But we didn't focus on activities like challenges and events. We focus on catch entrepreneurs from content, from conferences, from maybe our social media platforms. Uh, and from our mentorship and free training session. So from the free training session, after they see the quality of the mentorship, they come to us, and we only catch the quality of profiles. So we didn't um, uh, adopt the same strategy. So for organizing events and challenges to catch entrepreneurs. So we have another strategy
Mm-hmm.
comparing others on our ecosystem. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah. Well, yeah. What I have to say. Let's leave it for the Q&A, and we can just talk about it together as a team. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you both.
Yes.
Sorry, Martin, there is another, Thobail also raised his hand.
Okay.
Otobil, maybe I'm pronouncing wrong the name.
Thank you. Yes, I'm Tobile.
Tobile, sorry.
Abila, okay.
Yes. Okay. My concern is, or should I say, a question on the reality check part and the full understanding of being part of an ecosystem and having to deal with other hubs. Like how do you I'm trying to think of how best I can rephrase this.
Well,
There's hubs that will be hubs or innovation centers or accelerators that are in the country that would operate such that it looks more like you're in competition when in actual fact you can also be part of an ecosystem. How do you continue to make sure that you exist in that setup such that you have an impact that if tomorrow you would disappear,
mhm,
the ecosystem would very much notice that something is incomplete, something is missing somewhere. Having competition in existence.
mhm.
Yeah, that's my question.
Okay. Please go ahead with the questions. With the question. Sorry, I didn't get it. So if you disappear, please go ahead with that. So I'm losing the connection. So.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. My question is, how do you make sure that you make the full impact
Okay.
as you are part of the ecosystem, yet you have competition?
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I can just give you some, let's say, my experience in the ecosystem, and this is the question I told you I have as a challenge every month with my governors. He's asking for it every month, and he's laughing. So yeah, imagine that you will tomorrow Martin disappear. What will happen with the ecosystem? Are you really important in the ecosystem? How you are challenging that you are important in the ecosystem, and what you really do for the, let's say, not only for the ecosystem but for the, let's say, this type of level of environment itself. And yeah, and my always because I can think I can feel it as a competition with him. I always feel like but I am doing myself the best what I can do for the ecosystem. And if I believe the, let's say, startup scene, SMEs we have let's say, linked to in, and of course you as a region, and this is something you have to study and find in your local level and regional level and country level. And I'm saying to him, okay, if I will disappear, you just create one organization responsible for the, let's say, company support. You tell me, if I will disappear, who will do it? Because if there exists another one, there is a competition, so there will be some, let's say, platform which is already, let's say, paid from the private money. Of course, they have to survive, but do they have, let's say, the strategy to support the, let's say, regional level, or is to support it themselves as a company grow? So this is the questions I'm raising with the governor every month, like in jokes, of course. But yeah, basically that's basically it. So yeah, if there is no competition, yeah, maybe you are somewhere in the universe, and you can think that you will be for the ages running, and support will be supporting by the government and whatever you are supporting you. Even doesn't matter if you do university. But if you will be in the competition with the others, I mean the real ones, or do they do the similar things like you? Yeah, that's the real life. So the competition is there, and survive only the one who, let's say, brings more, let's say, impact and results to the region or whatever for the ecosystem. So yeah. Good.
Answered. Thank you.
Thank
Billa,
you,
thank you
Martin and
again.
Tovil, for the interesting question. And there is also another hand raised from Emmanuel.
Yeah, Emmanuel, I'm back again. I hope I wouldn't again bring something controversial. But in addition to what you said to help our sister, the ecosystem, we have the members. Without the members, that the group that have a common goal, have a particular solution they want to address and all that, we exist. Then the other parties are there, that the regulators and so on. Without the members, the other parties cease not to be there. So if we are going to compete among each other to collapse the ecosystem, then we have to be careful. So my advice is in order not to sound like you're competing, let's deliberately try to support each other in the ecosystem. The more the number of members you have in the ecosystem, the stronger you guys really are, and the more you are able to deal with developmental agencies and so on. So if perhaps you run a program and there is an aspect that you lack the technicalities or facilitators, and there is another member in the ecosystem that is doing so well, you can bring that party member on board to run that program than rather trying to do it yourself and bringing a consultant and somewhere. If the whole members in the ecosystem try to work with each other, it makes the ecosystem stronger. The members makes it stronger, and the other parties are able to do well. So in that case, it doesn't bring that competition. And also one thing I also recommend that for the ecosystem interventions not to fail, if they could have a regulatory body, because some of them, we all have common goals and so on, but we don't have a regulatory body, a council of members that we can all say, let's go here, let's do it this way. This is not our area. When you go in here, you are operating out of our jurisdiction, and the impact will be bad. But if there's that council where they sit to look at the prospects around, and then the current need or they're able to know what is need of them, I don't think members of the ecosystem will run programs that are not going to be impactful or are going to fail. Because we have a group, we have a council, we sit to decide, and we know where we are going to. And so it will be hard for members to run any program that perhaps might not have any interventions. And if you have a regulatory body, the regulatory body can highlight some of the activities of members to encourage the other members to know where we are heading towards. There can be news highlights, there can be reports, and there can be information by the member council on the new trends and so on, which will make it difficult for our activities or our interventions to fail. If there is that council or group, sometimes some of the members are so small that they can attract projects and their impact cannot be felt much. But with that bigger umbrella, with that council, certain projects can be brought to which under normal circumstances individual members cannot get. But the bigger umbrella with the council can attract certain projects that will help some of the members who are small in the system to also find something to do in order not to make them collapse in terms of financial, in terms of lack of funds. Because when you are not running and you are not performing, you might run out of funds and you feel that you feel that of the ecosystem. So we should make a deliberate effort to support one another and to have a council to direct us on where to go, where not to go, and also to be able to draw or pull programs that the members of the ecosystem can benefit from. In that case, it will be hard for some members to die off. It will be hard for some of our interventions to be irrelevant, and the competition too will also be lessened. That's what a suggestion I think, or a contribution I think will help us all survive.
Indeed, thank you very much for that comment. Really appreciate it. Basically, you know what? As we have following, let's say, module 2 for 2 weeks time, I'm just focusing on the, let's say, the general things inside the ecosystem understanding. So yeah, the module 2, and I'm going to explain that after we finish the module 1. It's more intervention. It's more about the impact and measurements to build up entirely what we have done, let's say here. So we will focus on that in the following, let's say, session. So sorry about that. That we are more struggling in the general things. Guys, so yeah, congratulations because
Sorry, Martin, we are losing you.
I am hearing also the reactions. You are completely above. Is
Yeah.
that better?
Sorry, Martin, we cannot hear you. Sorry, all, I think. Yeah, Martin is having issues. Yeah, I think he left.
I am
So,
back.
no, yeah.
Well, yeah. Even we have some more than 10 gigabytes connection, we are losing I'm losing the connection. Sorry. All right. Yeah. Sorry. Yes. So what was the last thing? Yeah, it was the big thank you to the guy who just put the remarks related to the ecosystem and how to contribute in the ecosystem, because guys, the communication and the clarification, the goal, the target, the mission, the regions, government or country or ministry or whatever you have, the ecosystem, whatever you have in the board as a founders, it's important to make this happen, because in the end of the day, for me is important, and this is my KPIs. We can just talk about it in module 2. In module 3, we can talk about the KPIs, and what about we can talk about the impact and measurements we can apply. Even the theory of change I'm going to explain in the following session. So yeah, the impact should be let's say measurable. The impact in my case is how to increase the GDP in my region, how we can let's say impact the let's say unemployment to the local level. So yeah, we can just measure it somehow, and time to time it's constraints. It's against the, let's say, the let's say goals we have, because in the one hand, for example, in the case of employment, you go for, let's say, KPI like okay, for 5 years I would like to, let's say, bring new, let's say, positions, a new employment for the people, like 1,000, like a number 1,000 people. But in the other hand, the now the digitalization and the processes and the pressure for the, let's say, cutting the, let's say, expenses is going vice versa. So yeah, that's always need to be explainable, and you to find the focus and to be able explain what really happens. So in my case also, one of the measurable things is how many companies we have just put in the scene of the startups, how many are has a potential to be unicorn, how many of them doing well since our support was, let's say, triggered in the beginning. So yeah, basically this is something we can just talk about in the second session in the 2 weeks time. Okay. So in the meantime, the output of the model, you can see, you can read it right here. Okay, what I can do with this, I can put this. Yeah. So you had the time to one. It's important to understand that we will move in the second section to the actions, more general, let's say, general comments related to the ecosystem. You already understand. So let me just go for the transition to module 2. As I already mentioned, that module 2 will be built on this foundation we have put, and this is the understanding the ecosystem, understanding the position in the ecosystem, how you can impact the ecosystem, and also the point is that and that your reflection, if you disappear tomorrow, how the ecosystem will be, let's say, running or not. It depends on your, let's say, expectations and expectation of the others. So the module transition to module 2 will be in 2 weeks time. I can just share with you some also, as I did it for the module 1. I will share with you some just, if you will have time, of course. If not, we can just talk about it, go through the presentation I will prepare for you for the next time. So it doesn't matter, but I wanted to make sure that you will have enough in the module 2. Yeah, I already mentioned that. Yeah, important
Sorry, Martin, you are cutting again.
some connections in others, how they impact.
Sorry, we lost Martin again. Sorry about that. We should have been came back now. On the meantime, if you want to share anything of what you've been learning today and listening to and also realizing from your ecosystem, feel free to do so. And also on that self question, what will happen in your ecosystems if your organization will disappear? How it will be noticeable? I think is a very good question to think about in the upcoming days in your for the before the next session. But yeah, while we wait for Martin, yeah, feel free to share any. Yeah, Vincent?
Yeah, thank you very much. An important lesson that I've learned here today is that no organization is central
Hmm.
to the ecosystem, especially in mapping.
Yeah.
Now, which brings me to a very important question, because I run an accelerator for the government of Uganda, at the Ministry of Trade. So, and I'm currently doing a national startup policy. Sorry, I chair it. I chair the technical working group. The thing is, who convenes the ecosystem? Who's the convener? Or how do we come about of that? I like the suggestion of a council of elders, and that assumes that the ecosystem, that assumes a structure that I've not seen in my country. We just have an ecosystem and its map, and we do some analysis and have some events. And obviously, because I'm doing a policy, it pulls a lot of people towards government. So in some instant, we feel like we are the ones at the center of this, but I've learned today that we are not. So my key question is, who convenes the ecosystem? Thank you very much. If we can talk a bit about that.
Thank you, Vincent. Hi, Martin. I see you're back. And yeah, Vincent was sharing that today, I mean, that he found the session very interesting, and that, yeah, it was interesting to realize that no organization is essential in the ecosystem. And yeah, so he was asking now who convenes the ecosystem, who could be considered to be in the center. You're mute, Martin.
Very bad day. Even it's Friday. I'm just maybe expecting the weekend. Even the let's say connection expecting weekend. So sorry about it, guys. I told you I'm gonna find somebody who is making sure that the connection is in my office. Okay, so sorry, it shouldn't happen because we are paying a lot of money for good connection. Now back to the presentation. I just finished that with that module 2 expectation. So I told you I don't know what you have already heard, but or what is missing. I'm gonna give you some, let's say, books, publication, and sources to self study, and we can go for the KPIs and more understanding the players and the theory of game implementation. In our case, who is impacting who and how we can play with that game with the actors. And this is something, Hikova, I would like to mention because I didn't get the whole which was raised by Vincent, or
Vincent,
who was
yeah,
it?
Vincent from Uganda.
But who is convincing? Yeah. All right. Okay. Hi, Vincent. Good to see you as well here. So yeah, maybe for again for the question related to who is impacting who or who is convincing who. Yeah, it's always I'm gonna give you again my case. In our case, it's driven by the law. It's driven by the local law or the national law, which is already saying, as a region, you have responsibility to support the innovation ecosystem, and we call it as like a regional innovation ecosystem, and this is driven by the ministry. This, let's say, connection related from the national level to the regional level, let's say, causes and impacting the focus and let's say the tasks the governor are giving to us. So we are in the implementation, let's say, unit for the ecosystem and also for the innovation, let's say, impact for the companies. So always depends how the structure you have in your countries, guys.
And we also have Blessing who raised their hand. Thank you, Vincent. Very interesting question as well.
Can everyone hear me?
Sorry, yes, Blessing.
If you can hear me, okay. So I just want to add a little bit of so I want to share something. I don't know, for those that are asking conveners and all that. So in Nigeria, we have ecosystem players. Like Martins has said, the government play a very important role in the ecosystem, but the drivers of ecosystem in Nigeria most times are private sector driven. The private sector driven in the sense that so we have what they call innovation support network. Innovation Support Network is an umbrella that governs all hubs, accelerators, ecosystem entrepreneurship training centers, and all that. So we have a one body that governs, how things are done. And and how we've worked for most times that PFIs, NGOs, we reach out to them and we co-create a program with them and say, we can help you solve, what is your problem? We can help you solve this problem by A, we have this program, or B, and we use hubs, innovators, entrepreneur centers to help deliver those programs. So a case in hand is Ford Foundation. Ford Foundation wanted to drive literacy in the rural areas, and because of the way hubs are spread in Nigeria, all part of Nigeria, you must see a hub. So we use those hubs to drive those engagements at the local level. Case in hand again is Lagos State government. I currently work with Lagos State Employment Trust Fund. When they want to design or they want to drive events, activities, entrepreneurship programs in the creative sector, creative entrepreneurship and all that, I design those programs with them and we run it together. So if in Nigeria we have governments that understand, most times the state government don't pay attention. Most times the hubs are the ones that meet state government and say, we are here, we can help you deliver your mandate. And we can help create a program that will help you meet your mandate. So it's a two-way thing. Because we want Nigeria to be better. That's it. Thank you.
Very good remark, Blessing. Good. And it also will support my case. I have already mentioned as example in my country. Yeah, it is basically the right way to how to do it. There is a strong and mandate, let's say powerful. Yeah, I can imagine that in your countries and your regions, this is not the similar way. You have to fight for better position. So please don't hesitate to go to the ministry, go to the government, local government and national government. It doesn't matter which one. To ask for the support, ask for the mandate, because if you would like to, and what I can understand from my country is that if there is a willingness from your side and you go for the country and ask for it, of course they need to get some, or they support the let's say organizations which can help basically to make better environment in the country in terms of the innovation ecosystem and the company support. So in that case, from my perspective and my, let's say, goals, it's the Ministry of Industry and Trade which is responsible for the ecosystem and the company support. So I'm every day, let's say, attacking by the let's say, of course we can just ask them to participate in the events. It's important. I told you we have to do this job, but I'm asking them, or we are asking them as a group of Winovate, because I forgot to tell you that our case is that we have in the country 14, let's say, regions, districts separated to, let's say, local organizational level, governmental one. And we have, of course, something like a 14, let's say, innovation centers in the region. So we have, let's say, what we have done together, because we fight for the region. Everybody has his responsibility in the region. I will try to open the. Oh, yeah, okay. Everybody has a responsibility in the region, and it's important one, because I told you it's supported by the law and some, let's say, directions from the ministry and the government. But we as a group, we have created another platform connected by each, let's say, innovation center in our country. So we are connected. We have our brand, which is called Winovate, and this Winovate is let's say, bigger and better, let's say, resistance to the, let's say, everything what happened in terms of the company support or the laws which are created, because we as a group, for the 14, let's say, innovation centers, we can just let's say, have better voices and better mandate to let's say, to support even our organization, but the ecosystem at itself in the country, yeah, in the level of the company support in the Czech Republic. So I told you that 14 innovation center, but in this case, don't take it as this is the best example. But from the 14, let's see, regions, we have only nine innovation centers already existing and somehow supported. So even one of the oldest one is in Brno, it's the Moravian part. 25 years, the ecosystem there and the support for the companies is very, very strong one because of this history. Innovation center in my case, in northern part of the country, it was the south. This is the north one, north part of the country. So our ecosystem is already 10 years here, and since now, so be patient, guys. Since now, after the 10 years, our ecosystem is really respected, and we are able to impact even the ministry, even the what will happen inside the region, not only in the cases related to the business support. Okay, so yeah, you need to build up step by step. Topics we would like to raise. One, or maybe I can just try to, because I have to be able to check the chat
Yeah, I
myself.
think there are a couple of comments, but yeah, all the questions raised there were answered by you already. Yeah, yes, Alberta said that understanding our uniqueness as BSOs and collaborating with to ensure impact in the ecosystem is key. It's absolutely true.
Okay. All right. No one else? Let me just thank you about the homework you have done again, because it was nice to understand or try to understand it in the short time, because who applied so who replied to me and give me the floor to understand the ecosystem and understand the positioning of the in the ecosystem was good also for me to understand the ecosystem itself as a general in Africa. So I see the differences, I see the misbalances, I see that that we need to work on that, and I believe we as a family of EU big will help you in the following, let's say, weeks and months to be more strong as a whole Africa unit. I believe so, because European case it's successful, I believe. For the ones who didn't apply and would like to chat with me and try to understand more, or let's say to not to understand but get my feedback, please do it. I am able to answer anytime. So even in the night, I can, if I have time and willingness, of course, I will reply to, because it's quite good opportunity, and I feel it like a mission for you to help you somehow.
Thank you, Martin. And maybe also I might say, if I might say also the ones that already served, that as you said, many of them also were including their organization on the center. If they want to rethink again and now how after the session how they see their ecosystem, will be very interesting also to see how it changed on their mind. And I think Tobile, sorry, also raised her hand right now.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. It's actually quite interesting, and I think for it has just sparked an interest in me that I think maybe uh, in Eswatini, let me just talk about Eswatini, but I've already had comments from some of my colleagues who are from from the African countries, that I think in our case, we need to do our own study and come up with how it would look like. Because somehow in our case, our governments want to be so much in control And even when they put up a certain institution that is being funded by government, and government would be controlling, especially when it comes to any innovations. They want, like our governments tend to be the ones that want to control how far it can go, how it will be funded, and anything about it is somehow in that center. So it has just sparked an interest in on my side, and I'm happy with the way that you are looking at it in the European outlook. Maybe let me put it that way. And I feel like it's actually a good one to a certain extent in our case, as let me just come back to saying as Eswatini. But yeah, thank you, Martin.
Yeah, thank you very much too. Well, just one maybe last remark because we are talking about innovation, but is anybody in this room able just to explain what the innovation means and what the word is coming from? It's also important to understand, even if you are central or not. This is really fine that you understand, and you maybe just put yourself in the circle and you can understand the impact. But let me just know if you understand the innovation. What does it mean?
Okay, in our hub, how we define innovation is it could be you're coming up with an improved way of how a certain service is being offered, or how this product has been operating all along. Then how are you making it better than how it has been happening all along? So in short, that is how I would define it, because we then we then make it different when we have a new group coming in. We explain to them that, of course, we understand that some can come with inventions, which is what we are looking forward to having. But so far, we haven't had that. It's more of having the innovations, as you have just changed to the point that we even say it's an innovation when you are bringing it. We didn't have it in the country. It's the first time we're having it in the country. It is well known, fully functional, maybe in in our neighboring countries, or even in other countries as far as Europe and so on, but we don't have it in the country. So we'll take it as an innovation if you're able to bring it into the country, even if you're bringing it as a complete product. The fact that you have found means of how to bring it to be now available locally. So yeah, in a sum up, that is how we
Perfect.
define yes.
Thank you very much. Also important to understand the innovation as a terms. I'm going to give you some, say, short, let's say, introduction to the innovation, because many times, even if you need to explain to your, let's say, founders what you innovate, what does it mean innovation, you need to understand that from the political point of view, the innovation was a little bit dangerous for the political representation, because innovation means what? To renew, to change an existing order. Yeah, this is quite tricky, but dangerous. Yeah. So yeah, and if we go for the roots of the, let's say, this word, it's coming from the Latin, it's innovatio and so on. But the point is that the real fact and change maker for the innovation in the, let's say, better understanding and better shape of these meanings, not to renew the order, but the innovate to mean to support something to be changed, was coming in 20th century only. So yeah, even we can go for the, let's say, the roots to, let's say, old history. It was quite it was basically the word was known, but was using with some, let's say, political, let's say, impacts. The real one and supported one is coming from the 20th centuries, I already mentioned, and this is coming as a basement for us to change something to make the environment more happy, more better for the living. Okay, so this is something you have to explain to to your, let's say, bosses, founders, government, whatever, that you are the part of the innovation ecosystem. You are just a worker, soldier in the field, I'm saying, and trying to help in your, let's say, area and the selected, let's say, mandate to help to the people. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Couple of minutes. So yeah, Mohammed.
Yeah, thank you so much, Martin. First, I just would like to say that a lot of people, when it comes to innovation, they think that we need to become an Einstein to innovate. You need to be so brilliant to a point that you innovate. Then I would like to ask you this question. Do you agree with me that innovation is to find a problem and to solve it in a way that no one else has discovered? Do you agree with me? Do you consider that as innovation, even finding a problem and innovating or giving solutions that are very simple and easy? Simplicity. Don't you think simplicity is the key for the innovation? That means find a big problem and solve it in an easy way.
Yes. Mohammed, indeed, in many ways, indeed, because the innovation means the simplicity. The innovation means that you are trying to look at the problem you have already mentioned from another perspective. You need to stay always aside of the problem and look at it. Not that this is your problem, but this is the problem you have to solve, and you need to find a way how to solve it, because there is a lot of problem, a lot of troubles in our lives itself, but only the real ecosystem, remember the Latimer's bottle, is really living and existing without interruptions, only in case that the ecosystem is working. Okay, the ecosystem has every ingredient inside the ecosystem which is supporting the living. So indeed, yes. Okay, so I agree with you. Also, we can just simplify it to that we can just solve the problem by maybe the easiest way to solve the problem is always the right one, because if you have many, let's say, opportunities to solve the problem, you are just in the academic way. So maybe I am saying that as well, that if there is a simple way to how to solve it, go ahead. If you only the ones, you have to solve it. Okay.
Thank you so much. That's really amazing.
Good.
And I think in Africa, it is a fresh market, and we do have a lot of problems. A lot of problems. Developing countries, always.
Yeah, of course. Don't forget that even I'm from the Europe, I'm coming from the structurally affected region, which is called like a poor region, but I don't care. I would like to do my best to get better shape for our region. And we are doing well.
Amazing. Bravo.
I wish to have it also for your cases, guys. So if we can help somehow, yes, that's the program is about. Good. Seems that Tobila is asking for. Yeah, please go ahead.
I think she was clapping.
But okay, sorry. Okay.
Feel free to jump in, Tabil, if you wish to
Oh,
share.
okay. All right. Well, yeah, for the wrap up, that's basically it. If you will take only the one important thing to, let's say, from these sessions, it's the central. Remember that. Put yourself into the, let's say, solar system, not the central one. You are not the sun. Even I wish to you to be sun, but even for myself, wish to be sun. But yeah, we are part of the game. We have to collaborate. Without the collaboration, you cannot do it.
Thank you so much, Martin. It's been a very inspiring, interesting session. I've learned a lot as well, and thank you all for your contributions and active participation and questions. Everything has been very enriching. I'm very much looking forward to the next sessions. And so, Martin, if you wish to share with me the presentation, I will share with all the
I will.
cohort that has attending today and also to the main contacts of your organization so they can share
You
as well. And yeah, thank you again very much. We meet again in 2 weeks on the 20th of February. I see a last reflection from Emmanuel. Let me see. Yeah. Emmanuel, if you wish to share, because it's quite long, otherwise I can read, but
I like what he said about how we define innovation, and so that it wouldn't conflict with the government, like the political implications of it. If we dwell so much on the innovation as trying to do something better than the usual one, it might sound or signal the government that perhaps if you're not doing well, you have the better way of doing it. And that can bring about protest and all that kind of thing. But I like the fact that he was saying that we should link it to the impact the innovation will have on the members of the country. And that's where they will appreciate it. But when you come as we want to reinvent, we have new ways of doing it. Yes, politically, it might sound a threat, and so we should be mindful how we define it and should rather direct the impact of the innovation as to its impacting on the members of the country and improving the livelihoods of our people. So Martin, that's really nice, and I think we'll consider it. That's really great.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel, for this comment.
thank you all. Yes, I will be in touch very soon, sharing the presentation, and also you have the link for the next session, but I will share again. Thank you also, Philip. I see you here, our expert for the third chapter on programmatic, programmatic level. And thank you all again for such a very interesting and dynamic session. See you very soon.